I'm gonna tell on you one day, I swear. Can't you see I'm scared? You're supposed to be my father. Ooh.
She was awakened by a slithering, slowly moving up her legs towards her vagina. She immediately jumped up while lifting the blanket to look for the slithering creature. Confused and anxious, she stepped out of her bed, and to her surprise, could it be? Is this the slithering creature? This man sleeping, pretending to be asleep on the floor next to my bed? No, it couldn't be him. But well, what else could it be? Oh my goodness. The feelings of disgust immediately enveloped her entire being. She darted to the nearby bathroom. In shock and dismay, she held her face. How dare he touch me this way, she thought to herself. Caught in disbelief, she found herself sitting on the cold tile floor as she began to cry in silence. With her head tucked into her knee, arms clenched around her legs with her body moving back and forth. With confusion and fear, she had no sense of knowing what to do during this time. But oh God became her words of silent cry and prayer. Many nights, months, years went on with the continuous violation. She felt so alone, no one whom she felt she could trust to talk about the slithering night creature. For she never knew her biological mother. Her stepmother was raw and brash, and her father worked day and night. Sometimes she wouldn't even see him until the next morning while going off to school. School had become frightening to this young girl, for she became the target for teasing. Her classmates would call her baggy eye, for the fragile girl had spent most of her night hours awake in silent cries. Her grade dropped tremendously. She had to repeat 3rd and 4th grade. 5th and 6th grade, she barely even made it through. Oh, so many times she would attempt to run away. She packed up her clothes in a large garbage bag and would make her way to the tree house that the other kids in the neighborhood had built in the nearby bushes. However, by dark fall, she knew she couldn't stay there, so she always found her way back into the house with the night creatures. Yes, creatures, for it was just not one. It developed into 2 and 3 as the years rolled in and rolled out. She still wasn't allowed to lock her bedroom door, so she started sleeping in her closet, sometimes underneath her bed, and other times she would tuck her blanket so tight underneath her body just so she wouldn't feel the slithering hands on her skin. She had become so wary from all the sexual violations and torment from the night creatures. So she desperately wanted to release the bent of fear, confusion, and frustration, until one day the words finally came out. She had entrusted a family friend with her long-time secret. Disturbed and perplexed, the family friend did not know what to do with such information. "You gotta tell somebody about this," she said to the young girl, while grabbing her hands, and she led the young girl to her stepmother. When the girl related the secret to her stepmother, she immediately became overwhelmed with fear of what was going to happen. After sharing the disheartening information, the girl's stepmother told the family friend that she will deal with the matter. So the friend left, leaving the young girl and the stepmother all alone. Stepmother then said to the young girl, "Don't tell your daddy about this. Now go, I will talk to the young man." The young man whom she was supposed to talk to was indeed her son. She had 7 of them. A few days afterwards, the family friend visited the young girl and accused her of lying about the secret she had told her. Feeling so humiliated and so broken, the young girl withdrew herself and stayed in the bedroom for hours and hours. One day, as she was cleaning her bedroom, another son of her stepmother came through the door, secretly whispering, "I will get a tape recorder and place it underneath your bed so we can catch him." As he said those trusting words, he walked towards her and knelt in front of her and said, "Shh, be quiet." And he put his hand underneath her skirt and pulled her panties on the side, and he slid his finger into her vagina, saying to her, "Did he do this to you?" With her eyes already closed, she clenched her fist so tight, while the feelings of humiliation, betrayal, disgust, and hate overtook her once again. When she opened her eyes, the creature was gone. She again held her cry in silence, and she zombied her way to the bathroom. She slumped onto the toilet and started to repeatedly hit herself on her thighs with her fists. Why? Why? Why me, God? Why? Why me? She cried and cried, disgusted at what had just happened to her. She took a bath cloth that she had used earlier that morning, and she wiped and wiped and wiped her vagina, trying so desperately to rid the violating feelings that was emanating down there. Oh God, how desperately she wanted to escape from all this torment. Good morning, Black Foods. Good morning, fellow activists. Good morning, guests, and good morning, Bahamas. How many of us can connect with the cries, the pain, and feelings of this young girl? How many of us are willing to tell our stories to break the steel bars that are built up around this incest problem that so plagues our nation today? When are we as a community, as a nation, as a people are going to realize that it is our silence that is the real crime? When are we as a community, as a nation, as a people are going to open our eyes and see that it is our children, hundreds of our children are being sexually abused each year? When are we going to begin to take the necessary actions, make better decisions, and ultimately set the direction to promote the conditions for progressive change in our nation for our future generations? Do we really want to develop a more progressive nation with healthy, productive adults? Or are we just going to stand by and watch blindly as we develop more and more dysfunctional adults? People, it has become so evident that our nation is suffering from this disease. Yes, I said disease, because according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, a disease is an abnormal condition that impairs functioning and can usually be seen by signs and symptoms. And my God, the signs and symptoms are rampant in our homes and on our streets today. We can take a look at the PowerPoint and we can see some of the signs and symptoms. We have low self-esteem, depression, low grade average, teenage pregnancy, rape, pedophilia, promiscuity, confusion about sexual identity, attempted suicide or suicide, runaways, missing persons, nightmares and other sleep disturbances, fear of certain people and places, adverse or phobic reactions to sexual intimacy, self-mutilation, eating disorders, disciplinary problems, sexual transmitted diseases, substance abuse, lack of personal power, trouble regulating emotions, anger, and violence. Man, people, this is a very serious problem we are faced with here. This problem, this disease can be seen from generation to generation, and we have not yet broken this vicious cycle. How did we get like this, man? How did we get like this? Do you even ask yourself this question? Do you ask yourself this question? Do you ask yourself this question? Well, I have, and that is why I speak. One of the main reasons why we are in this state we are in today is due to lack of communication of past experiences, starting from our elders, parents, grandparents, etc. And yet we wonder why young Tommy is doing what he is doing. In our homes today, we are blindly grooming sexual predators, rapists, and pedophiles. We can look at our slide. We can see that it starts from the grandparents down to the great-grandparents, down to the grandparents and parents, and then it ends up to you. We need to start speaking up, people. We need to start speaking up, mothers. We need to start speaking up, fathers. We need to start speaking up, grandmothers and grandfathers. We need to start speaking up, great-grandparents. We need to start speaking up, children. Too many of us have closed our eyes and are hush-hush about such matters of child sexual abuse and incest. But we can claim, but yet we claim that we want things to get better in our nation. So many of us are walking around here today with heads so high, and behind your closed doors you watch or participate firsthand stand in this disease. According to a child protection spokesman, in 2009, it has been reported that the incest problem in the family islands is being exacerbated by relatives' unwillingness to support victims in the face of fear that shame will be brought on their family. Man, shame is already on your family because you ain't speaking up. You done turn your blind eye. Lastly, to you, our government, we are tired of you pushing tourism as your top priority, when our biggest issue we are faced with today is child abuse or child sexual abuse, which accounts for some of the youth's violence, the low grade point average in the schools today, the teenage pregnancies, the disciplinary problems, the sexual transmitted diseases, etc., etc. Governments, the youth do not trust you because you do not have their backs. Wake up and set your priorities in order. Right. My people, our nation so desperately needs us to break the silence so we can break the cycle. Break the silence so we can break the cycle. Right. Break the silence so we can break the cycle. Break the silence so we can break the cycle. Thank you.